Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Hi, Editing Jordan here to say I filmed 5 videos today. I'm trying to get ahead of the game because February is going to be really busy for me, so I decided let's knock out a ton of videos. Filmed all 5, felt so good with myself, then went to edit them and realized I have lipstick on my teeth for all 5 of them. So I'm sorry, I'm not refilming these 5 videos. Please pretend the lipstick is not on my teeth. It is what it is, guys. Today I'm doing the birthday book tag. When you are watching this, my birthday was yesterday. So with that being said, check out my link tree down below for my Amazon wish list if you want to gift me a birthday book. But anyway, this is just a fun tag that helps celebrate your birthday as well as talking about books and that's my 2 favorite things. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first one, The Birthday Cake, a book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. I'm gonna just kind of say this entire series, and that is the Beautiful series by Christina Lauren. These are just fun romance books that were kind of like my intro to romance, and they all have very, very cliche premises. Like this one is like the boss and his secretary. So like very cliche enemies to lovers, like all of the most cliche of tropes, but just done so well. This series is like my guilty pleasure series. Whenever I'm like just needing a quick, easy pick-me-up, I'll reread one of these. They're all just so good. And this is an older Christina Lauren series. Their books have been getting much less steamy with time, but this series was top-notch steam, very, very, very steamy, so be warned if you are interested in looking into this, but this series is it's just so fun. It's so good. Next up, Party Guests, your most anticipated book release this year. This one's tough because I have a lot, and I have a video that is all of my most anticipated releases that I'll link down below, but if I had to pick one that I'm most excited for, it's one that isn't actually confirmed that it's coming out this year yet, but most people assume it will, and that is Alecto the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is the 4th and final book in the Locked Tomb series, and if you know anything about me, you know I love the Locked Tomb. It is one of my favorite series of all time, and I am so excited and nervous for this last book. So that is probably going to be my most anticipated release. If it doesn't come out this year, then I'm honestly not sure. There's a lot of good books coming out this year. Fonda Lee's got a book coming out. S.A. Chakraborty has a book coming out. So there's just a lot to be excited for. But overall, just excited for this year in general, but Alecto the Ninth is my most anticipated read of 2023. Next up, Birthday Presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. For this one, I'm going to say The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. This book came out last year, and I had an arc of it and fell in love with it and pre-ordered it, got my hardcover copy. I went into this hoping to like it, but I didn't really have high hopes of it becoming a favorite by any means. This book is about religion and politics in fantasy, and it's kind of like a whodunit mystery novel with fantasy elements, which is normally not something I really gravitate towards, but somehow it really, really worked for me in this book, and I just reread it this month in preparation for Tyranny of Faith, which comes out in February. I liked it even more the second time. I forgot just how dark it got by the end. It gets really, really dark, and I think it's just phenomenal. So I was really surprised with how much I liked this book. It ended up being in my top favorite books of 2022. Next up, The Happy Birthday Song, a book that certainly deserved all the hype it got. This one is controversial because not everyone agrees that this book should have been as hyped, but I do, and it's my birthday, so The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. This is something that took Book Talk by storm. It was a self-pub book that got so popular that Tor picked it up and published it, and I love this book. I think that it is just so fun. You love to hate these people. All of them are morally gray, sometimes just flat out bad people, and the situations they're put in are just so interesting, and the magic system, while never really explained, is just really cool, and the concepts they talk about, the dark academia vibes, everything about it is just everything I love in books. So I really love this book. I know that not everyone agrees, and a lot of people, especially people that read a lot of like heavy fantasy books, don't like this book, but I think it's great. And I also think the second one, The Alice Paradox, was great. I just love this series. Next up, Happy Music, a book with some very beautiful and very memorable quotes. For this one, I'm going to do a book I just recently read, and that is Trust at the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I got the ebook for this on January 1st, part of the year of Sanderson, and did not expect to like it as much as I did. It's probably one of my favorite Sanderson books of all time. I won't say it's the top favorite, but it is up there, and I ate it up. And Brandon Sanderson is not typically known for his prose. He is more known for like his characters and his magic systems, but the prose in this book was just top-notch, S tier. I have a full dedicated review for this book that I'll link below if you want to see like more in-depth thoughts. But I found myself highlighting quotes like every other page. I was highlighting so much in this book to go back and look at. So this one is just like full of memorable quotes. So check it out if you haven't. Next up, Getting Older, a book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate it more if you read it as a more mature reader. For this one, I'm kind of cheating because it's a book I just read recently, and that is A Game of Thrones, but really just A Song of Ice and Fire in general. So I read the first 4.5, DNF to the 5th, like 3 or 4 years ago, but I was at the time reading mostly YA fantasy, and I just read this because of the hype from the TV show. And I just don't think I was ready for a grim, dark fantasy series where I was at. I was reading a lot of like romance-heavy YA fantasy with like kick-ass heroines and stuff, and that is about the exact opposite of Game of Thrones. So I think I was just at a place in my life where I would never have appreciated it fully. So I just reread Game of Thrones, and while I don't know if I enjoyed it more, I definitely appreciated it more and found a lot more to like in it than I did the first time. And so I'm hoping that continues with the rest of the series. And lastly, Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. For this one, I'm going to say The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Prefacing by saying, after I read this, I heard about his inspiration for this story, which is really just awful. So I am very much aware that the inspiration for this book was not good, and that this maybe isn't a book that everyone should pick up. But with that being said, I read this at the height of lockdown, and it was a really rough time. I was unemployed. Me and my husband were both unemployed, and we were just kind of like stuck in our tiny apartment for months. And I read this book, and it was such a wonderful pick-me-up, and it was just so charming and heartfelt. It's about a group of magical orphans that are deemed dangerous, and they live on this island. And this man is like a strict by-the-book inspector who goes around inspecting these orphanages, and he's sent to this island, and he kind of like gets involved in the running of this orphanage. And it's just like a really touching, funny, beautiful story. Again, the inspiration for it, now that I know, kind of gives it a really dark, awful light. But before I knew that, I just absolutely loved everything about this book. So read this at the right time, I guess. And that is all the questions for the birthday book tag. Happy birthday to me. I love birthdays. Birthdays are always a huge thing in my family. We celebrate everyone's birthdays to the fullest extent. I love everyone's birthdays, not just my own. So this was really fun for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you could please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know some of your answers to some of these questions if you feel like it. If you really like my content, please hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post new videos. As always, your support means the world to me. And until next time, thank you guys.